created their own gang.
The larger part of that separation occurred in San Quentin State Prison in that time frame, the mid-'80s.
Fed up with the bloodshed and seeing their F-14 brothers treated badly, the Fresno members of NF band together in prison and create a council that eventually becomes the Fresno Bulldogs.
That council, though, was instrumental because essentially they led that separation, and the council didn't necessarily want to be called that just because it kind of aligned with that form of structure that the NF was still pushing.
It's because of what the homeboys did in the late 80s and the early 90s, trying to break off from another form of oppression, giving other generations of homeboys in a city the size of Fresno freedom.
A lot of individuals that are credited for starting the Bulldogs. You had the Vindiolas, Crackers Vindiola. You also had his brother Roy, Spooky Vindiola. You had the Venegas brothers. So you're talking about multiple brothers that were affiliated with the Nuestra Familia that no longer want to be a part of that.
To distance themselves, they come up with a new logo to represent their home, incorporating the Fresno State University's Bulldog mascot into their iconography.
They kept the color red because they adopted the Fresno State University, the Bulldogs emblem, and they chose the Bulldogs as their mascot.
They really wanted to establish that independence from anybody and kind of make it a situation, as they quoted, every dog for himself.
While this newly formed group brings freedom for them, it also becomes the Fresno Bulldogs versus everyone.
If your homeboy got in trouble and he getting locked up, you got to get in trouble too, because we're too outnumbered. And we're going to lose this thing that they're trying to do.
The expansion of the Bulldogs from prison to prison is labeled by some as the Red Wave, the same name of the Fresno State University football team cheer section.
The Red Wave is something that is used to refer to the violence that happened after the Bulldogs were formed at San Quentin, 84, 85.
This Red Wave resulted in a significant amount of criminal street gang members on the streets of Fresno becoming Fresno Bulldog gang members, which in the early part of the 80s were non-existent. And by the end of the 80s, you had hundreds, if not thousands of them by that time.
Back when they started writing the Fresno Bulldog Constitution, they made it very clear that there's going to be no leaders, there's going to be no generals, there's going to be nobody in charge.